Hello, my dear friends, Daria here, and welcome to episode number 106 of the Slow Russian Language Podcast. I'm really sorry about my voice, and if you've been with me for a long time, you probably remember our inside joke about my amygdalas being removed when I actually meant tonsils. So some people thought I have half of my brain removed instead of that. Oh, good old times when my English was that terrible. Hopefully it's a little bit better right now. What I wanted to say, I really apologize. My voice is a little bit harsh, as if I'm a heavy smoker, but in reality it's just any tiny virus just gets instantly into my lungs, unfortunately, and I lose my voice every single time. But here I am because in 2024, I have made a decision to be disciplined, to be consistent. So hopefully once in 2 weeks, now for sure, we will meet here. Today we talk about Russian space program. I've received several requests from my listeners and I really love this topic myself. Some of you might know that I am literally in love with Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space, my absolutely favorite person. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, please join my Understanding Russia course because we talk a lot about that and about history of Russia and about culture, cuisine, all that stuff. So if you are into Russia in general, please welcome to my course. The links will be in the description. Now let's start with the episode. The text itself is quite long, so let's skip the reading part and I will start with translation and then we will read the whole text just to save your time. So sentence number 1. Программа космических полётов России имеет долгую и богатую историю и уходит корнями еще во времена СССР. So the Russian space program has a long and rich history, dating back to the times of the USSR. In English sounds quite shorter, right? So Russian space program. Sometimes we say космическая программа. Sometimes we use the long form. Программа космических полётов. The word полёт means flight. For example, when somebody flies on the plane and they land, we can ask in text message like, so how was the flight? Как полёт? Just 2 words. Как полёт? How's the flight? So you might hear it with the Russian space program as well. Программа полётов. Программа полётов России, of Russia. Yes, we use genitive case. Программа России, program of Russia. So it has a long and rich history. Имеет, to have, иметь. Имеет долгую, long, долгую. И богатую историю, rich history. This is a metaphor, obviously, right? Rich history. But we use the same word in Russian, богатый. It can mean literally rich, having a lot of money. Богатый. For example, он богатый человек. Or like here, rich history. Богатая история, meaning there's a lot of events, a lot of interesting personalities. Богатая история. And it dates back to the times of the USSR. In Russian, this phrase dates back, we actually say it goes in its roots to something. Уходит корнями. It's a very interesting expression, kind of to roots back. The roots go to something. Корни. And again, these roots, корни, it can be the roots of the plant, right? Корни, растения, but also like here metaphorically, the roots of history go to the Soviet Union. Во времена, into the times of the USSR. Во времена СССР. So the full sentence again. Программа космических полётов России имеет долгую и богатую историю и уходит корнями еще во времена СССР. Nice. The next sentence. The main Soviet achievements include, of course, launching the first satellite and sending the first human into space. Yuri Gagarin. So the first part. The main Soviet achievements include главные советские достижения. Achievement in Russian – достижения. The verb to achieve – достигать. Достигать. Главные советские достижения. Another common expression is sport achievements. Спортивные достижения. Спортивные достижения. Это, конечно, запуск первого спутника. Запуск means launch. Запускать. To launch something. For example, Elon Musk launches a rocket. Elon Musk запускает ракету. Да? Elon Musk запускает ракету. Запуск ракеты. Launch of a rocket. Запуск ракеты. So the first Sputnik, the first satellite, belonged to the Soviet Union. Запуск первого спутника. And so was the first human, Yuri Gagarin. Yes, so the launch of the first man. Запуск, отправка. Отправка is the same meaning, to send something. Отправка. We use this word on daily basis on... For example, on the computer, if you're sending an email, it would say отправка, kind of sending in progress, отправка. Or in the post office, отправка писем, sending of letters, costs, I don't know, $5, something like that. Хорошо, so here they sent the first human. Отправка в космос первого человека, Юрия Гагарина. Юрия Гагарина, да? Отправка в космос кого? Юрия Гагарина, genitive case. Okay, the next sentence. The program also played a significant role in the Cold War space race with the United States. Okay, программа также сыграла важную роль. The program also played an important role. Программа сыграла важную роль. Играть важную роль is a very common, very interesting expression that we use again on a daily basis. Играть важную роль. To be important, to play significant role. Играть важную роль. And then we use prepositional case. Important role in what? In the space race. В космической гонке. Race in Russian – гонка. Гонка. For example, Formula 1. Формула-1 – это гонка. Гонка. So, the space race of the Cold War. В гонке холодной войны с Соединёнными Штатами. With the United States. С Соединёнными Штатами. Just a reminder, if some words seem too long and it's difficult to understand from listening, you can always look in the description of the episode. I put the full transcript there. So don't worry, you can read everything I'm saying. Хорошо. In recent years, the Russian space program has continued to operate and achieve successes. В последние годы. В последние годы, in recent years, in the past years. Actually, the word последний means the last one. For example, you're taking some, I don't know, candy from the table, and it's like, oh, it's the last one. Это последняя конфета. Последняя. I'm just trying to lose weight, and candies are coming as examples, unfortunately. So последний just means the last one. Последний. But последнее время, последние годы, meaning recent times. So in recent times, past years, Russian program continues to work, continues to operate. Российская программа продолжает работать. Продолжает работать, continues to work. И достигать успехов. Достигать успехов, to achieve success. Достигать успехов. That's kind of controversial because of all the sanctions and a lot of Russian programs were banned. So it really slowed down the Russian space program recently. However, they keep working and they have some massive plans. We're going to talk about it very soon in this text. Хорошо. The next sentence. It has launched numerous satellites and spacecraft, including the Soyuz spacecraft. You might have heard this word, Soyuz. Soyuz. Soyuz in Russian means union. Union, Союз. So it can be the union of two people, союз двух людей. For example, the married couple can be the union of hearts, very common. Союз сердец. Союз сердец. Or the Soviet Union, союз на советский. Советский союз, Soviet Union. So the full sentence. It launched, она запускала. Why we use the feminine noun here, pronoun, она? Because программа. In Russian, программа ends on a, so it's a feminine noun. We use она. Программа она запускала, it launched many satellites, множество спутников. You probably know the word много. Yeah, много, мало. A lot, a little. Много, мало. However, if we want to use the noun, and in a form of a noun, we can use the word множество, множество. But technically it just means many of something. Or in English, I translated it as launched numerous satellites. Yeah, kind of a lot of satellites. Множество, множество спутников. Множество спутников. Включая, including, включая, космический корабль «Союз». The spaceship «Союз». «Союз». Хорошо. Spacecraft. Also, we continue that Russia also operates its own space station «Мир». Россия также управляет своей собственной космической станцией «Мир». Ooh, that's a long one. That's a long sentence. Россия также. I hope you remember that the difference between тоже and также is about this. So both are translated as also too. But тоже we usually use when two different people are doing the same thing. For example, I like coffee. Oh, really? I like coffee too. Я люблю кофе. О, правда? Я тоже люблю кофе. Or Маша любит читать. Маша likes to read. And Даша likes to read. Маша любит читать. И Даша любит читать. Также, however, we use when it's the same person or the same object, so it's just something, some one thing, and several different things about it. So here we keep talking about the same space program, just one space program, and it does this, and also it does that, it launches this spacecraft, and also it does that, and that. In that case, we would use также, также. So Россия также управляет своей собственной, its own space station, собственный, собственный. Quite a long word, but very frequently used, so it's a very useful word. Also, we can use it as a noun, the owner, собственник, собственник, the owner, собственник. So Mir. Mir, space station. Mir, I'm sure you've heard about it. It's actually translated as the world, or another one is the peace. So Mir in Russian has two meanings, either world or peace. For example, War and Peace in Russia, you know the Tolstoy's book, Война и мир. War and Peace, Война и мир. But also it means the world, the whole new world. Огромный новый мир. Хорошо. And the continuation of this sentence, and Russia has plans for future manned missions to the moon. И имеет планы. We drop the noun here just to avoid repetition. Россия имеет планы для будущих, the future, будущих пилотируемых миссий на Луну. So mission, миссия. Quite easy to remember, right? Луна in Russian is moon. Луна, луна. To the moon, на Луну. Okay, and here are some Russian records. Вот несколько российских рекордов. So some, few, we usually translate as несколько. Несколько. For example, there are few apples. Там несколько яблок. And we usually use a genitive case after this, genitive plural. Несколько телефонов. Несколько друзей. Несколько машин. It's all genitive case. So here are some records. The longest space flight. Самый длительный полет. We could say длинный. You might know the adjective long, длинный. But usually we use длинный when you measure the length as a distance. For example, длинная дорога, the long road, long path, длинный. Длительный is more about time. Длительный полет. And it sounds a little bit more official. So the longest space flight was conducted by Валерий Поляков. Полет был осуществлен Валерием Поляковым. This is passive voice. Was conducted. Был осуществлен. And then we use instrumental case. By who? By Валерий Поляков. Валерием Поляковым. On the Mir space station, да, на станции Мир, на станции Мир. Again, Mir means the world, the peace. So it lasted 437 days, 17 hours, 58 minutes, and 17 seconds. Ooh, a lot of numerals are coming. Time to practice numerals. So 437 days. 437 суток. Сутки means 24 hours. We could say 437 дней. It's obvious that it was 24 hours in each of them. But again, more official in a situation like that, we would operate in сутки. Сутки. 437 суток. 17 hours, 17 часов, 58 minutes, 58 минут, and 17 seconds. И 17 секунд. All genitive case after numerals. Okay, the record for the total time spent in orbit belongs to Геннадий Подалка. Рекорд по общему времени, total time, общее время. Рекорд по общему времени, spent in space, in orbit, проведенному на орбите, принадлежит Геннадию Подалке. Belongs to, принадлежит, belong, to belong, принадлежать. And it lasted 878 days, 11 hours, and blah, blah, blah. Let's do it. 878 суток. 878 суток. 11 hours, 11 часов, 29 minutes, 29 минут и 36 секунд, 36 seconds. It was registered by the International Aeronautical, is it a correct pronunciation? I am not sure, to be honest. Aeronautical Federation. Aeronautica. So the abbreviation is FAI. F-A-I, FAI. In September 2015. В сентябре 2015 года. Okay, and the last one. Cosmonaut or astronaut, I think in English usually people say astronaut, but in Russian we say kosmonavt. Cosmonaut Anatoly Solovyov conducted 16 spacewalks, spending a total of 78 hours and 48 minutes in open space. Космонавт Анатолий Соловьев совершил 16 выходов в открытый космос. 16 выходов, 16 spacewalks. Проведя в общей сложности is a really useful expression. It means total, kind of in total something. For example, в общей сложности 5 часов. In total 5 hours. Or 30 people. В общей сложности 30 человек will come to your birthday or something. Or 30 people in class. Да, в общей сложности в классе 30 человек. В общей сложности. And he spent there 78 hours and 48 minutes. 78 часов и 48 минут. That's it for the text. I also wanted to add a paragraph about space tourists because that's quite an interesting story. Americans were the first ones to send the space tourists in the space, but it failed, and it's quite a dramatic, terrible story. I read about it. It's very sad. There was a teacher who was only 37 years old. Unfortunately, I forgot her name. You can look it up. The first space tourist. So she was preparing. She won in this kind of competition. There were thousands of applicants. So she won it. She was a teacher who was supposed to be this first non-astronaut to go to space. And unfortunately, in less than a minute, the shuttle collapsed and everybody on board died. Very sad. Look it up, please. And Russians did send a couple of space tourists, and I think space tourists who go to space, they go to the Russian space station Mir, still even today. I think one man, I forgot his name again, in 2021 there was some space tourists too. But it's very expensive. It costs millions of dollars. Now they are planning to do the spacewalks for space tourists, and I think one walk outside of the ship would be $3 million for a couple of seconds. You kind of get out there. I don't want to. What do you think? I personally have never dreamt to go to space or like see the Earth from space. Never ever did I want this. I am definitely not a risky person. No, thank you. But I know that a lot of people would love to do something like that. Definitely not me though. So let's listen to the full text, and please let me know how much you understand. So, русский текст. Программа космических полетов России имеет долгую и богатую историю и уходит корнями еще во времена СССР. Главные советские достижения – это, конечно, запуск первого спутника и отправка в космос первого человека, Юрия Гагарина. Программа также сыграла важную роль в космической гонке холодной войны с Соединёнными Штатами. В последние годы российская космическая программа продолжает работать и достигать успехов. Она запускала множество спутников и космических аппаратов, включая космический корабль «Союз». Россия также управляет своей собственной космической станцией «Мир» и имеет планы для будущих пилотируемых миссий на Луну. Вот несколько российских рекордов. Самый длительный полет был осуществлен Валерием Поляковым на станции «Мир», который длился 437 суток, 17 часов, 58 минут и 17 секунд. Рекорд по общему времени, проведенному на орбите, принадлежит Геннадию Падалке, составляющий 878 суток, 11 часов, 29 минут и 36 секунд. Он был зарегистрирован в ФАИ в сентябре 2015 года. Космонавт Анатолий Соловьев совершил 16 выходов в открытый космос, проведя в общей сложности 78 часов и 48 минут в открытом космосе. And that's it for the text. I really hope you could understand it after translating sentence by sentence. But again, make sure to look through the Russian transcript and English translation in the description of this episode. And of course, I invite you to my courses. You can learn Russian with me at russian.fromzerotofluency.com. It's my premium step-by-step Russian language course for beginners. And also I have a course in English dedicated just to Russia. There is no language needed there. It's all about history, culture, and the main goal is for you to understand Russian people better as just human beings, not in terms of the language. So please check out the links in the show notes, and I'm really sorry about my voice again. Hopefully by the next recording I'll feel much better and I'll be here with you again. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next episode of the Slow Russian Language Podcast. Пока-пока.